Alright, so I know I said I wouldn't be uploading for a while, but that wasn't, I couldn't foresee me getting this. I got myself a rock crawler from Walmart. The reason why the reason why I got this thing is because the RC group I'm in was recommending rock crawlers because they're supposed to have higher torque. And this one's supposed to have decent torque because if I flip the box over, it actually says high torque all drivetrain works on and off road. For me, I need torque. So now two things I need to know is will this thing be capable of lugging her around, and are the controls on this car proportional? If they're not proportional, and this thing actually does manage to be able to drag her around, then I'll just most likely just swap the parts out of this thing and just swap them into this. But for right now, I need to take this thing out of the box, see how it runs, and go and see if this thing will actually pull it around. So I'll come back a little later on when I figure this thing out. Oh yeah, and I forgot to give a size comparison. This is how big my homemade thing is compared to this thing. This thing's significantly bigger, even bigger than the hobby grade Remo car. So hopefully this thing will actually have the guts required to lug her around. Alright, so I just got done running this thing around outside for a little bit. So far it seems to work great. One thing I've noticed is that the both front and back gearing boxes, or the front and back gearboxes, are geared slightly differently. This one requires quite a bit of force to actually get it to spin, while the back one here requires less force to spin. From the looks of it, they are still individually geared, and most likely either have a minimum of 3 gears, which is what I want. And if this thing actually works, I'm letting both batteries charge. This thing takes the exact same battery that my Remo car takes. So that's a major plus. The only thing I have to change is the actual connector that's for the car and the battery that this thing came with. That's the only thing I gotta change. But like I said, this all works. What I'm going to do is that once both batteries are done charging, I'm actually going to see if this thing can carry the bass and Kongou on it. And if this thing can actually do it by itself without any modifications, or like any extra help with that little RC tracked part I have, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the parts off this little monstrosity I have, i.e. the Remo hobby stuff, the ESC combo unit and the servo, and I'm going to put them into this thing here. With the way this thing is designed, swapping the electronics over is going to be ungodly easy, especially with the steering system. With the way this thing is designed, I can pop off the steering box, which is this little piece right here. This little piece is just screwed on top. So I remove this simple little gearing box, and then I have this nice little area opened up so I can easily just slide in the servo, and the servo will be able to turn the 2 front tires. And then I'll be able to easily stick the actual main electronics back there. And then what I'm going to do, if any people that are into rock crawlers are watching this video, and they're probably going to hate me for this, but then again, I'm not going to be using this as an actual rock crawler. I'm going to be using this thing as a towing vehicle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to most likely remove the springs, but keep the shocks in there, because for me, if I lower it down to this, it looks so much cooler. And since I'm going to be taking this thing to an anime convention, I want this thing to look cooler. I don't want it to look like this. Granted, in the state I'm in, this is kind of what they do, but again, for me, I want it to look like this. So for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the batteries fully charge up, test everything out, and then come back with a finalization and let you know if this actually works or not. Alright, quick update. I just got done running this thing around outside with Kongou and the bass on. This thing requires very, very little throttle to run. I went and swapped over to the Remo hobby crap. I didn't attach the servo yet or anything. I just want to see if the throttle if it would actually move around just on throttle. And it does. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and take the time to swap everything over to the Remo stuff. And I'm going to actually tidy up the whole, and I'm going to tidy up everything when it comes to the battery and how everything sits inside the car. And I'm also going to watch Daddy Jim's newest stream, so yeah, at least that's something to watch. Yeah, where's he on mute?
I don't know if anything particularly sexual in nature was brought up.
Perfect time to unmute.
People, because
Well, if I was making money, well, I'm not making any money off these, so it don't matter.
Somebody else, and then about abuse.
Turns out my camcorder was continuing the recording, so I had to completely scrap it and start all over again. So, basically, I'll just run through what that video was. I got everything working. This thing is now basically a hobby grade doom buggy or crawler or whatever you call these things. And the only modifications I really had to do to this thing to get it to work right was to remove the steering system this thing originally had, raise up the servo that way so it can properly make contact with the steering arm, and just elongate the actual servo wire so it can go to the back. Where I have the electronics. And of course, I also had to go in there and wire up the two motors so they spin at the exact same time. I'm currently in the process of adding LED lights to the front. This thing actually has two little light sockets for LEDs, so I decided to take the opportunity and put LEDs in it. And the other reason why I'm doing LEDs in this thing is because I also found out that after I fully took off the body, that I can just remove these two stupid screws, and I can pop the whole body off like so. I can easily get to everything. And as you can tell right there, I have a little socket that's labeled for lights. So I'm going to use that little socket to give this thing front headlights and whatnot. So for a toy grade car, I would never expect it to have this functionality. So I'm very, very impressed with the company that made this little RC crawler. This little RC crawler has the power I need to lug around Kongou in her base. I didn't have to break the bank neither for this thing since it's $60. The ones I saw were $200, something like that. I was like, yeah. Especially for what is essentially a little Papercraft figure that I'm going to be taking once or twice outside the freaking closet. It's kind of a waste of $200, especially when it comes to crawlers. I'm not really into them. I'm more into like short course trucks, little street cars, stuff like that. But since this thing has all the torque I need, it runs flawlessly. But it's currently nighttime outside, so I'll come back when I get the lighting fully set up and whatnot, and actually show this thing running around outside. And of course, here I am outside. I got the lighting all set up, and with the way Remo works is that it has low beams and high beams, due to this little button that you really can't see right here. Give me a second, I'm trying to relearn how to steer this thing. Let's flip the high beams. And that's full speed. And when it comes off-roading, granted, you really can't see that I'm on grass, but I'm on grass. So at the end of the day, I still have a relatively good little car to drive around. So I guess I'll end this video because there's not really much else for me to talk about. Actually, there is one more thing. Give me a second to get this thing into the light. With the way this thing is designed, there actually used to be a little fake tire that covers this little area up. And it's actually held on by simple body pins. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make it so there's a custom little plate out foam board that's going to have a nice rare earth magnet inside it, and I'm going to use that to actually allow so it can connect to the base of the base for Kongou. So I'm going to be ripping up the whole front of the base again, which is going to be fun, especially after I just got done spray painting it. But that's going to be for tomorrow.